but I know you, like I said, I know your neighbors. So,
It's a good location.
I'm calling the
Yeah,
city
they're
council
good.
workshop,
But the location's been.
budget retreat meeting to order. Dana, would you roll call, please?
Councilmember White. Here. Councilmember Cook.
Here.
Councilmember Fairley.
Here.
Councilmember Osborne. Councilmember Thomas.
Excuse.
Motion to excuse, Councilmember Osborne and Councilmember Thomas.
Second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Motion to approve the agenda. Second.
A motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Abstentions? Passed. No presentations. Number 5 would be discussion.
Thank you for having me. Here we are again for the budget retreat. So just as a reminder, this is council's time to brainstorm things that you're interested in as far as the budget goes for next year. The purpose for this is not necessarily for us to answer your questions, but rather for you to prompt things for us to go do, so we can go back and crunch numbers on things and incorporate them into the budget process. As a reminder of the budget calendar, the first step in our process is staff submitting their budget requests. So those worksheets have been prepared. I believe everyone's gotten their worksheets with the August 15th due date.
I actually did a week earlier than that.
Great.
Just to be on the safe side.
Perfect. Excellent. So directors will have their worksheets in here in the next week or two, and then I will compile the numbers and put together for the mayor and Jessica to evaluate and compile the mayor's budget. That then comes back to council for council to approve, change, whatever you want to do with it. So any information we can have from you as far as your priorities is helpful in developing the preliminary year's budget, and we'll still have a chance later in the process to add or change certain things out. The priorities from last year that we had were storm system upgrades, code enforcement, graffiti cleanup, channel 21/assistant for Gary, financial system upgrade, sidewalk in front of Matchett Park, park bathroom upgrade, playground upgrades, and street lights. I think if we can get a list of 3 to 5 things, maybe 5 to 7 if there are pressing items, that would be great. No item or no idea is wrong. I'll just start writing them out here as we have ideas, and then we can talk about what the priorities are for council. I will say I believe this is going to be an extremely difficult budget year due to some cost overages that we're seeing already this year, and increases that we know are coming, and the fact that we've already had an unbalanced budget for 2025. So you'll recall we did adopt a budget in 2025 that had a shortfall. Revenues are not increasing at all. There's nothing good happening on the revenue side. Expenses are increasing. So I would really be thinking in terms of difficult budget decisions, looking at cuts likely. My encouragement to council is probably opposite of what you want to do, and that is ask us to look at how we save money. What would it cost? What would the city save by cutting a position, a program, reducing hours, reducing programs? Throw those ideas out there and let us go back and research that. I think that will help drive the budget process. Also, put your ideas out there, the good things, the things you want to do, and we'll certainly evaluate that, and then it becomes a decision factor for council. If you want to add, you want to take out, so that ideas just from going through other cities that I've worked with that are having severe budget challenges have looked at things like what would it look like to have City Hall open 4 days a week instead of 5? What would furloughs look like? What would reduced staffing look like? What would reduced parks programming, recreational programming look like? Just some ideas to get you thinking along those lines. Also, you can throw out ideas. So I will, with that, take questions, or we can just open it up for ideas. Yes.
On the list of priorities, did any of those get accomplished or, taken care of?
That's a great question. All right, so storm system upgrades, that is ever ongoing. I know John has made some extreme strides over the summer and is still continuing the work. Code enforcement, we do have Dean working on that. I mean, as graffiti comes up, we see Public Works out there cleaning it up. Channel 21, I believe we just got the final quote, and it's just a matter of putting it in place, and I believe, are we trying to do that this year?
No, there was no money in it this for 2025, but we did get a final quote. Minus, this says FTE, which means somebody to run it. But we did get a quote, what was it, like 21,000 all out the door, equipment installed, up and running. So we left it there for you guys to decide, hey, is this something we still want to go through? But we do have a very realistic plan with a realistic budget of $21,000.
This is from last year.
Right.
Assistant for Gary, that has not happened. Financial system upgrade, that's another thing we put on hold. We did move to the cloud-based version of Bias. We really haven't had the issues we've had before moving into cloud-based. So that's not a priority for staff anymore. Sidewalk in front of Matchett Park, that is actually on John's radar, and I believe he's going to try to do some fixes on it this summer.
Yep.
Park bathroom and playground upgrades, we have not done that. After this wetland preserve is done and we see what's available out of our park levy fund, we could bring that back onto the table. Fair to say, right? Street lights, we did just finish replacing the ones up in the industrial area. I know there's been some discussion about some other spots in town. John, do you know off the top of your head what the price range for a street light?
No, just the wiring right now was 51,000 for that industrial section. It's all been completed.
How many lights there's? How long was the stretch?
Oh, all the way around that whole block area. A couple thousand feet for sure.
But that got us to all the streetlights are working now that we know of.
Correct, yeah.
So then the streetlight thing was, we were talking about that, maybe streetlights going.
Correct. Budgeting a couple street lights a year in different locations.
That was upper of $10,000 to $15,000 depending on the pole, what was there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't get a price per light or anything.
You were asked to, so it's okay.
So the sidewalk in front of Matchett Park, is that where it's separating from the curb?
Yes.
So is that something you think you can perform in-house?
Yeah, we're hoping to do something before Algona days.
So like some grout or something like
Yeah.
that? You got a nice grout about that work. You happy to donate it?
You have, I'm sorry, what?
A grout pump, you know, you put it in there and
Okay,
it's got
Yeah.
a hose, a 3-foot hose.
yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Well, I think the storm systems is gonna stay on there. That's gonna be our number one thing. That's the biggest problem we have most of the year is water. Too much water.
It says in King County, $8,000.
Yeah, it's not running the deficit.
Average cost per street light.
First.
And
What is
should
happening,
make
based on
sense.
the nerve that leaves us? It's great to have all these extra ideas, but it doesn't seem like these could carry forward, but I don't think we're gonna have a lot of money. So I would like to not lose people, not lose services, and balance the budget. You know, so if we don't get to some of these extra things that would be really nice to have, I mean, I would rather keep staff than upgrade the bathroom. I'd rather keep staff than change the lights, right? Because we know that, what is it, in a couple of years, this is gonna be paid for.
Yes.
So, you know, we know that's gonna be a big chunk of money in a couple of years. And although it's a little frustrating to have to kick the can down the road, you have no way to tell with, you know, economics and what's gonna happen in even the next few years, right?
Exactly.
So, I think just it's reasonable and be fiscally responsible to me would be the most important thing, right? Even if we don't do anything extra, can we run and can we keep our staff, right? Because all those people are counting on us, you know, because they have jobs and they have families and they support our community. So to me, that would be the number one focus. Then whatever you guys come up with, what does that look like? And hopefully we wouldn't have to, you know, make some of those more drastic decisions.
I think from a staff perspective in 2025, we've been throwing quite a bit of curveballs. Like Auburn saying, hey, you got to end we're ending your IT contract, right? So that means, you know, I got to come up with a new records management system. We got to come up with a new IT vendor. With coming into that new IT vendor, there came a lot of extra costs associated with, hey, you're not in compliance with federal and state regulations when it comes to cybersecurity, updating to the cloud, all those residual costs. And I don't see them in 2026, but of course, you know, they waited till after we passed our budget to tell us, hey, we're bouncing. Yeah, you guys got to leave, you know. So, or toward the end of our budget season. I think it was December.
Yeah.
So, and yeah.
Along this line of wanting to balance the budget but not lose people or services, are there any costs that you're curious about as council members, like how much we spend on travel, subscriptions, training, a certain program, a certain function? Is there anything out there that you just wonder about that you don't know, you'd like us to research and bring data back on? Or are you feeling comfortable that you kind of know what goes into the budget?
I think we run pretty lean. I think the staff has been really responsible and very budget conscious. This is kind of my take on it. I don't know what percent you would tell us. But we're not going to, you know, Las Vegas or some big convention about whatever and taking everybody. We just don't do this kind of thing, right? So we're not, you know, buying new police cars every year and new fancy equipment, and we got rid of the Vector truck and switched to a trailer, right? So we lowered our cost and increased our availability and service. I mean, so you guys are making changes like that, right? What did I say?
Vector truck.
That's the truck.
Yeah, that's what we're laughing
It's technically still in service at the moment. We have till the end of the year at the mayor's direction in New York.
But still, we're making, you know,
Yes.
we're headed in that direction.
The dump truck is leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And luckily we have staff now that is experienced in grant writing and is searching for ways to get new equipment such as that without paying out of pocket.
Yeah, just remember a couple of years ago, we created the asset replacement account, right? And we seeded it, but that still goes against our liabilities and our budget. And the police cars I moved, and I know it doesn't save much, it saves about 15 grand, but I moved the police cars from 7-year lifespans to 10-year lifespans. And so,
I know you have to do, you can't just like run those into the ground.
Correct.
But, you know, there are some places that
yeah.
they want to have a new one every year. It's not good or whatever. You know. I think you guys have also been really great about finding grant money to pay for just think if we didn't have, just think of the things we wouldn't have right now or wouldn't be doing without that grant. That's just phenomenal, right? I mean, it's just been really great to have that. So that's really tough.
Yeah, and we're getting some more grants. One was tentatively approved for another $250,000 for the wetland project, so we don't have to use our park fund money. We're just waiting for final sign off.
Yeah, so those are just, I'm just always impressed with the size of our staff, how much we do, right, how much we get, and it's just a testament to the work, and I think the ownership you have with our city and our community. So I'm very proud of all the work you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're all living anywhere else.
I agree with Gordon, we gotta keep the staff. You know, keep as many of the programs as we can. I mean, I don't know if there's any programs out there that we could have. You know, I mean, everything we do, with the community center seems to be a needed program. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of frivolous, wasteful programs out there. I mean, I don't come here during the day to see, what's being used and what's not being used, but, so, I mean, I wouldn't know if we're gonna hang for a buck off of it, but, sometimes like the senior lunches, it's whether we get our bang for our buck, it's, whether we take care of our community, and, it's hard to say, oh, we're gonna cut that program, because there's a lot of people out there that, that's the point of view of the day here.
That's the hard position you're in, because that community connector position, community programming, if you recall a few years ago when the city had the ARPA funds during COVID, that's kind of how that position was saved, and kind of at the end of that period, hoping things would be looking better budget-wise, and they really just aren't. So now you're at this decision point of, do you keep all these programs that are very meaningful to people and continue to operate with a deficit budget, or do you look at cutting something, or is there a middle ground, or do you have a new revenue source?
And maybe a list of those programs and the costs would be a good thing
Yeah.
to see. Like Tim said, maybe to understand, maybe have an idea of some of the things that are going on.
Yeah, the different programs and the cost and how many people are utilizing them. I mean, if we're spending $5,000 a month and 2 people are using it, it's,
Are you interested in the community center program specifically, or any other programs in the city as well, outside of just generic community center? Does that capture everything?
What other programs are there?
And that's why I'm at, that's like,
Yeah,
that's an
okay.
open question to
Sure.
you guys, is the community center capture everything you're thinking of?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll start there.
I don't know what.
Communities and program, yeah, because we might not know what extra programs are happening.
Anything that happens under the purview of recreation community program.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't think we do, what would be another, like, is there something the police department does that's a program to support, I know you guys do lots in your daily business, but there's not some extra thing, right? I know we do Blue Christmas and a couple of those things, but those aren't really cost added things, right?
Yeah, for me, my budget's gonna look like, I just wanna maintain what I have. I don't need anything extra, and I think, if anything, we're gonna drive a patrol car till it blows up, and before we buy a new one. That's the way, what is frustrating to me, and I've voiced it to everybody over here, and now Tara, is the costs that are out of my control. The court is astronomically getting crazy. And we can put political pressure on, which we're doing. We can do those kind of things, but at the end of the day, the court's going to charge us what the court's going to charge us. and we have no control over those costs. Zero.
And that's why I think it's really important to be fiscally conservative at this point, so you're kind of holding back, knowing that those things may come. But we don't know how tariffs are gonna affect any of our parts and supplies and things, you know, and how taxes or utility costs are gonna increase. I mean, there's just a whole, it seems like everything is on the uptick. Hopefully it will level at some point.
What was there, 7 new taxes today?
Yeah.
Is council interested at all in looking at what you could generate from an increase in utility taxes, or is that off the table for you? Utility taxes being a tax on your own customers' water, sewer, storm. Or go to general.
My personal opinion at this point is to just cover costs. I don't want to add that to the community. A question I did think about, and please jump in if I'm talking too much. You know, we got the hotel coming in, we got Algona Village, so there is some potential revenue resources there, right? And I don't know how much we can project over that. And then I also know, and this is probably going to be asked the next year, you know, the current transfer station, right, when that goes away and we get it back, there's another source, but that's going to be probably next year, right?
We're getting ready, we're working on a letter of intent to sell that property, and guy wants to put in a 20,000-foot store.
Oh, okay.
And multiple business, that's not the term I'm looking for.
Multi-use.
Multi-use. And so, we've got a commitment for that property, but we don't get that property until either the end of 27 or 28.
But we can see some revenues next year for the hotel.
Yeah. Because the problem with the hotel revenue is that you have a couple kinds of tax there. You have sales tax, and then you have the hotel tax. And the only thing that the hotel tax can be used for is economic development.
And one of the things, I was saving it for my report, but this last legislative session, they passed a 0.1% increase for public safety. We noticed most jurisdictions have done that. My recommendation as the police chief, and after talking to staff here and Ms. Tara, is that we implement that not for the police department, but for other public safety costs. The police, I don't need any more money in the police department, but again, it's about those costs that are out of control. And with the hotel coming in, and what did we figure it would generate, roughly?
I'm not sure, I didn't do those
Right.
numbers. And at the criminal justice, we'll provide the numbers for what that would be.
We meet all the requirements because we're an accredited agency. And the last requirement that was new was that we have to participate with the data collection program. As of 2 weeks ago, we're solid. We're good to go.
And jumping back to the hotel motel tax, the nice thing about that is you can use that for city programming. If it's something like for Algona Days, for example, if it's generating tourism or bringing people into the city can apply for lodging tax funds just like anyone else could. So there is that potential there, and it would be great if we identify these programs. I think Algona Days should be one of them. If we identify what's the cost of it, because it is possible that you could access your own lodging tax funds. It does have to go through a committee and get approved and get vetted against other applicants. But in some scenarios, I don't know how many really entities there are out there in Algona that are bringing people in. It's entirely possible that the city could get a good chunk of the funds.
That would be helpful, thank you.
Yeah, and even if those taxes can only be used for a certain line item, that's fine.
Yeah.
You take what the money was in there and put it somewhere else.
Yes,
So
exactly.
that's not necessarily a bad thing. You may limit you a little bit, but.
When is the motel supposed to open?
First of the year.
First of the year.
So you'll be seeing a ordinance.
Yeah, my goal is to have it for the first August meeting.
Put that in place.
I don't believe they were gonna start occupying rooms
includes until March.
Is it in the first quarter?
March 6th, I think it's a grand opening.
So they're trying to get for the World Cup, right, which is.
Yeah.
it's,
I think it's June.
The guy that's building this is a unique individual, superintendent. He's got a lot done. That's all he does is work for that company, travels around the country and builds these hotels.
Yeah, it's like wrestling.
Yeah, here.
Do you guys have any suggestions or things want to share with us if they're out there? Concerns, I know Chief was talking about some of the things that are out of our control. I mean, we could have a natural disaster,
So one thing I did after I first talked to Tara a couple of weeks ago, I looked, our jail costs are static. They're going up, maybe COLA, right? We had the big expense of switching away from Auburn, right? That goes away next year. But as far as, and when negotiated the contract, I tried to keep it sustainable, nothing crazy. As far as, and I also wanted to retain officers as well. I did, we've always known as a proving ground, but right now we have a very good crew, so I tried to find a balance there. I think for us, we're coming up on a reaccreditation year. And so it's hard for me to say, hey, we got to cut back on training, we got to cut back on these things, because you guys put the mandate that you will be an accredited agency. And so it's hard for me to say that. But what I will tell you is everybody on this side has heard me every time, I argue about down to the dollar. And I know Jessica does it, and I know John does it. And we meet with the mayor weekly, and we discuss these very same things. How can we save money? How can we do this? How can we do that? And it's like,
well, I think that accreditation is something to continue. It's very important. And it adds value to our.
Yeah, so we're up for reaccreditation in the spring. So
it gives you best choice of candidates. I mean, we see what's happening south of us when they don't have these kind of things to draw and keep people.
Right, and one of the things you're going to see in my report that, again, 65 calls we handled for the city of Pacific this month alone so far. Out of the 390, we handled 65 calls for them because they had nobody on or they were tied up.
So here's kind of an off the wall question. Is that normal to have? I mean, I'll just be blunt. Do we have?
So the flip side of that, they assisted us, according to CAD, 35 times, but when you look further, it's actually only 17 times. We told them to disregard, but they were dispatched 35 times, but we told them to disregard all but 17. And so that's more normal. I've been here since 2009, and over the last 3 years, it's increasingly got worse that we're covering. The mayor in Mr. Fairley, they get the calls on their phone, and they can tell you how many times we go to Pacific on a daily basis. So internally, we've had those discussions about sending them a bill and what that cost looks like.
Yeah, I don't know if there's some kind of will help you, but it's only
it's called a mutual aid agreement.
Yeah,
and we can renegotiate that at any
pretty
time.
high level, not just
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like we're doing 4-to-1 calls to them. I mean,
Correct.
mutual is mutual. That's kind of one side.
I agree.
So I mean, is there a way to where we can recoup some of that? I mean,
Well, I think it's time for the mayor and I to sit down with their police chief and mayor and have that discussion. I'm not trying to put my boss in the corner because he and I talk about this once a week.
I don't even know, what it would generate. 20 calls a month, that's 240 calls. What type of money are we talking to it would generate? I don't even know.
How like $150 a call is kind of like an average for a Pierce County contract anyway, so that could be a starting point for thinking about it, 150, 200.
You know, it's kind of like, you know, Auburn changed their, is it up, we're not gonna support your IT anymore. Oh, okay, well, we gotta fix it. Well, we said the same thing, you know, that.
So you gotta keep in mind, the cost, if we were to do a cost per call, it costs us $55. So if we get dispatched to a call, that's not going to the city of Pacific, that goes to my dispatch bill. Then I have to call dispatch at the end of the month and go, wait a minute, that call was in the city of Pacific, right? And so a lot of times, those calls get pushed on to us. Same with the other day, I'll give you an example. City of Pacific booked somebody in on our dime, just called our prosecutor and tried to bypass the police department altogether. The case started in Pacific, but they finished in Algona because, and then when they got to jail, they made the arrest, they catch it, they clean it, great. But when they got to jail, the person had contraband on them. And so they tried to book them in on an Algona charge without even telling us. And so the last time this all happened, we had to sit down and we had to explain, hey, you can't do that. And I think it's getting to that point. You know,
So is that
money's money.
something we want to add to the list, is looking at billing Pacific?
I think so.
And then another question for council, are you interested in knowing what it costs to be an accredited police agency, or do you not care because that's so important to the city?
It's nice to
The cost is nice, but I don't think it's there, and I think the value added is, I won't say it's unlimited, but it'll be good to know.
Do you respond to any other cities, Auburn,
So Auburn's very rarely, I mean, Auburn's short-staffed too. I think the last time I had breakfast with their chief, they were down 15, right? But we maybe once a month get called to assist over at the super mall or over on A Street. Nothing like Pacific. That, you know, and I've had to call dispatch and say, hey, you don't automatically dispatch an Algona officer to a Pacific call. Because, you know, we can talk about the nuances of this, but I can tell you, I spend a lot of time making sure that our department stays in our 2.2 square miles.
Yeah.
So another thing that it's on the agenda for later was, the rental agreement for the parks and stuff like that. I mean, so we get that in, and what did we make last year, you say, on that?
Oh gosh, as of,
Yeah, 18,000 or something like that?
yeah, for 24, or 25, excuse me, 24, and then this year, up to date, I believe we're at 15,000. Yeah.
That's just a community center, right?
And what's the question, what is the, you just want to know how much it's bringing in, or?
Yeah,
what
I
is
mean,
the
it's,
rate?
what it's, I mean, the rates are staying the same, we're just,
Now we're including the ball field, the
Right.
gazebos, and the
Right.
basketball court.
so I mean, that should generate some more revenue.
And we get plenty of phone calls about reserving the gazebo. So
Yeah.
I know that would be a popular one.
About the ball fields, I mean,
Other than the Little League, have you really seen anything more than that? Which I believe that's a non-profit, so I don't even know if we charge them for it. But still, if there's like a family reunion in town and they want to play kickball or, it's
Yeah.
there.
And I don't know if, a consideration might be like, hey, so that you said, that's very, very high demand. Could we build another one of those?
But there again, right, on the ball field, they're at Algona because Auburn started charging.
Right.
Do you charge resident versus non-resident rates for this? You do.
Yeah, that's what's presented in the packet, right? It's two different rates.
But I think, if you stay competitive, everybody's gonna do that, right? I mean, I've worked with companies, we've given it away for a long time, and people, you started charging $100 and people complaining. I was like, go down to, Kent Community Center and see what it costs you to rent this thing that we're giving you for $100.
Yeah, and the prices are very, very low.
Yeah.
That we have in the packet.
I think people understand, I mean,
Good, so this is actually a pretty good list. I really think it's reasonable to leave all these things on here. So we have storm system, like this would be capital upgrades for our ongoing storm problems. Priority not running a deficit, but keeping people. Coming back to you with a presentation on what various community center programs cost and how many people are using them. Crunching the numbers on potential impact of Algona Village and the hotel. Crunching the numbers on the criminal justice 1%, what billing incentive would look like, and then what revenue is expected next year based on the new art rates. Anything else you can think of?
I think that's a good starting point.
I would suggest a second budget retreat when both the other two council members can make it, like early September.
Yeah, that's what we kind of have tentatively. I don't believe there's a date on the calendar yet for that one.
No.
Our budget meetings will kick off with the second meeting in September, with the revenue sources presentation, and then both meetings in October and both meetings in November will have budget related topics, so hopefully adopt by then in November.
Good, thank you, Tara.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, council. Move on to audience participation. The city council encourages public participation during meetings of the city council and welcomes your comments. This time is set aside for you to speak to the city council on any issue. The council ordinarily takes non-agenda matters under advisement before taking action. You're also invited to comment on action items as they are considered during the meeting. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each in addressing the city council. When addressing the council, please speak clearly and audibly and state your name and address for the record. Sir, did you have any comments you want to make to, okay, thank you. And I'll go ahead and adjourn.